Welcome to Vision to Venture, the podcast where we talk to leaders in the tech world. In each episode, we chat with entrepreneurs, tech experts, and leaders within the tech space to hear their stories. So, if you're curious about tech, starting a business, or just want to hear inspiring stories, this podcast is for you. Make sure to follow and subscribe to never miss an episode. Let's get started. Welcome to Vision to Venture. Today we have a fantastic guest, Philip Kuchelmeister, founder and managing director at Hotellistat. So Hotellistat provides an all-in-one big data analytics for hotels. So instead of following the trend of generative AI, Hotellistat focuses on data-driven AI and analytics. So in this episode, we'll unpack how AI is transforming the hospitality industry, why bootstrapping as a company comes with its own set of challenges, and what it takes to really scale a business without a big investor backing. So hi, Philip. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for coming on today.
Hi, Emily. Thank you for inviting me and having me today. I'm curious about a nice exploration of these topics you were just mentioning.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that sounds great. And I think a really good place to start would be can you kind of give us a bit of an overview of how Hotellistat is actually using AI and data analytics to kind of help the hotel industry?
Yes, absolutely. So maybe let me speak a couple of words about the background and how that actually
Perfect.
evolved. Because back in the day, or my background is sort of stopped studies of air and space engineering and then my career in hospitality. So I know a lot about tech, but I did my career in hospitality and I was working with a lot of systems and during these times when I was working there, I realized that data is not connected. It's kept in silos and not interactively used and a pain to retrieve. And so what we have done, or what we have actually initiated or sparked off with, was the plan to have one system showing all this data. And then just naturally with the flow, we said, hey, there's AI out there are models out there's time series predictions and forecasting. Let's actually combine this data into an AI, and this is the biggest difference. So we are focusing on not algorithms, but really holistic AI in the company, and not generative AI, because I mean that's mostly used at the moment, the language models, the pictures and content creation. So we set off to combine this data into insights. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And you've touched on it a little bit there, to be fair, but obviously you're working more the data side, like you've mentioned. So can you kind of explain a little bit about the difference between generative AI and the way that you guys are working with it, and why that is actually important to you and what you guys are doing?
Yeah, the point is obviously when hotels hotels are looking into various fields of how to apply AI, and there is the one side generating content, but there's a lacking other side, that is the analytics of the data they have. And so for us, being a market intelligence tool, or back in the day we were a market intelligence tool, it was the focus on this data AI side and to crunch this. And you have to say that with the launch of ChatGPT and OpenAI and all this hype that started 1.5, 2 years ago, more or less, the biggest showcase was always creating text, creating images, creating content. But those AIs are not ready, or not dramatically in-depth ready to consume hotel data and do something with it. So it might have changed over the past years or past months, you must say, that you can analyze now an Excel sheet and speak a bit about the data, but it's not there yet in these huge correlations. So this was our endeavor, that we set out to create an AI model that is capable in handling these massive data streams. That is the biggest difference in the use of our models. So we're actually not relying too much on ChatGPT or OpenAI there with the data analytics. Actually, not at all, but on our own models, because it's simply not there yet. This side data AI is not a general available. There's no general available AI for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. This episode is sponsored by Enigma. Enigma help connect machine learning and software engineering talent with groundbreaking opportunities in the field of AI. So, whether you're a company searching for exceptional tech talent or an individual seeking that perfect role, Enigma is your go-to solution. Thank you to Enigma for sponsoring Visions of Venture. I mean, you've obviously mentioned that, and I assume that, you know, that was a bit of a challenge sort of going into this, doing a little kind of slightly different side of AI. So have there been any other sort of specific challenges in actually applying AI to hospitality data, other than just it being available?
Well, first of all, hotels and the existing systems are quite, let's say, protective. There are a couple of very old systems around there, and to retrieve the data is the first challenge. And then to clean the data, to make it machine readable, let's say, or to correct outliers, things like that, and to combine these amounts. And then if you've got this right, so speaking about now internal data from hotels, if you have this data now in front of you, you need to put it into relation and correlation to these additional data streams. And there you need to be creative, or you need to look at what is available. So you want to have market data, competitor prices, weather, events, reputation, obviously online presence. So how are hotels presented on Google, on search engines, and so on? How are they doing in terms of their website performance, search engine marketing, things like that? So you would want to get a holistic picture of all these divisions. Let's say a hotel needs to be present, and then you need to merge this into one AI, and that's actually producing the next challenge. You have a lot of data, huge data amounts that the AI needs to consume, and needs to consume on real time, more or less, because you want to predict prices or offer price recommendations on a high frequency. And these were the biggest challenge. So getting the data, enriching it, cleaning it, and putting it into perspective.
Yeah, no, for sure, that makes sense. And obviously, when you first had the idea for Hotellistat, I mean, in your head, did you immediately think that AI would actually be playing a big role within your company, or was this something that sort of changed and molded with you guys over time?
Well, it actually was the natural following consequence, because we set off with this, let's say, operational problem I was facing back in the day when I was working, that I had too many screens, too many systems. So we combined it, we had it in one system, and then we were looking at these modules, and we were thinking, hey, the data is now there. Let's correlate it. Let's put it into perspective. So it was like the natural consequence to put it into an AI model. And I mean, models are out there since years, since I mean almost decades, I would say, that there's been research going on. And so it was sort of, we heard of it. We, even before this ChatGPT hype, this AI hype, we said, let's put it into a neural network. Let's see what's coming out. Can we optimize towards something? Can we predict something? So that was sort of the exploratory phase that came just naturally with having all these puzzles pieces in front of you. You're saying, hey, let's complete the puzzle now. I want to see the picture. And that's it. That's how it sparked.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, obviously, it's something like you said that everyone's kind of aware of, isn't it? And I do think that AI can probably implement and help with a lot of different kind of areas and businesses if they just kind of had the means to be able to start using it. So I think it's really interesting that that's obviously something that happened with you guys. So I think what would also be interesting to explore is obviously a little bit about sort of the background and actually growing the business. So from my understanding, you guys actually started without investors at first, is that correct? So you were bootstrapping, and were there any sort of particular challenges that came with that that you kind of didn't know about, and a bit of a learning curve to start with?
Yeah, absolutely. So the the idea actually of Hotellistat, of founding a company, it evolved while we were working. So we're three co-founders. Basically, Tobias, my CTO, and myself. We are the initial workforce. Let's say the third person is attached to it. It's Sina. She's rather on the hotel side. So, but the first big challenge obviously was along your job, you want to create an idea and make sure it's working. You launched the first proof of concept, and we invested many hours in programming and coding along our jobs. It was even 2-3 years before we founded the company, so that we had an MVP, a minimum viable product, and we tried it. Actually, I tried it while I was working in the hotel. I was trying my own product for my own purpose. So this was the first time, and then we asked our network if they want to use that too, and we got the first couple of clients, and we've seen, hey, they like it. It's solving their problem too, and then you need to be brave and stand up and quit your job and just fully focus on that. And here's the first hurdle. Obviously, you need to be financially able to do so. And also from, let's say your point in life, you need to be able to. So back in the day, none of us had kids, and every one of us had a partner guaranteeing the household income. So we could quit our job and live with some pocket money for a while because we had support from our partners. And these 2-3 years, they were sort of the challenging phase, which we had to overcome to get back to a, let's say, normal or minimum income that you can continue living. Yeah, and obviously Munich here in Germany is a very expensive city, so you need to afford this as well. And along with this, no kids is an important chapter, because for me, for my personality, I don't want to raise kids and then not be there for them. So our kids came a bit later when the company was already solid, and now it's working nicely. I can work a little less, even though sometimes you work a lot, but when the kids are in bed, this is working. These were the challenges. And actually, if you create a software, you don't need big warehouses. You don't need to have a lot of product bound money, let's say, investing into things, so you can replicate your software license easily. So that's an easy thing. In terms of investing money, it's a couple of servers at the beginning. You can pay this. This is fine. So that worked out nicely without any investment. And looking back at this now, because that was the second part of your question, it might have grown faster if we would have taken some investment on board earlier. However, this comes with obviously obligations and investor relationships, and then they want their return and growth and so on. So we were actually pretty happy so far to not have any venture capital requirements there, like this growth. So we were sort of going with the flow. The product evolved towards that AI side. We were able to be flexible in things we want to do, to add features and things that might not benefit the product directly, but in the long sense. And this was it. It all has pros and cons. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it must have been a massive learning curve. There's a lot of sort of bits I want to talk about based on what you just said, actually. It's really interesting. We'll come back to the kind of funding side of things. I'm really interested as well, because obviously you've spoken about your side of the situation of moving in and deciding to kind of take the leap with Hotellistat. But how did you actually convince your co-founders to do that with you? Is there any sort of stories on that, and of how you guys sort of met, and how you ended up, the three of you?
So it's actually this story, actually how it sparked was, I was working with Sina, so actually my boss, back in the day within that hotel chain with Kempinski that I worked with, and I always told her, hey, there's so much potential in this, in doing in operating this nicer. Let's find a company and do this together. And so at one point I called Toby because he's the computer scientist. He studied computer science while I was studying the air and space engineering, and I told him this. And we sat in a beer garden in Munich, and we said, okay, let's do it. Let's do it along the job. Let's do the proof of concept, and then quit the job. So that was the original plan, and sort of we knew that there will be a demand for that because there was nothing out there. Yeah, we were working with the best systems, best possible systems, and we said they're not good enough, and you can easily improve them. So we just we took something that is out there and we made it better, and that's the original point there. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I mean, you're right. It's a great idea, and all I suppose you need is apparently a good idea and a trip to a beer garden, and bam, a company is born. So, no, that's I think it's really cool what you guys did. And in terms of sort of funding and things, then so you obviously mentioned that you didn't have this in the beginning. So, how did you know when it was the right time to kind of take on that external funding?
Well, first of all, we had established a set of rules that we would never take any venture capital, any partner that does only bring money to the table. We said we don't want somebody like that on board. We want some synergies, so somebody that is either bringing network, expertise, clients, potential clients, or added value to the product itself. So this was the set of rules. So we were never like fully against it, but we were not actively looking for it because we were spending the money we had. We were not overspending. We have a concept in place that might be pretty interesting. So our SaaS concept, software as a service concept, is a prepay for 1 year in advance. So you pay the license, and this is sort of our bank. Our financial investor was the own contractual sort of agreements with our clients. So they have paid in advance, and we got the money and could invest already. And through the growth, we were able to invest. And this brings you at a natural limit, and this limit is just if you want to invest more money than you actually make, even with the prepayments. And this is a stage where you grow in terms of people. So if you want to step ahead of the game, you want to hire a machine learning specialist, they cost a lot of money. So there we said, let's get this nice product that is working, that is really well in the market, perceived in the market. Let's now start the avalanche. And for this, you need some funds. So we said, let's partner up. We found a nice partner in one of our markets, and they have got a small share of the company. And with this money, we were able to invest and to launch the hockey stick growth curve, so to say.
Yeah.
That was the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that it makes a lot of sense. And I think it's really amazing that you guys actually started out as you did. I think a lot of people would have really struggled with that, but you had a good sort of plan in place. And in terms of that, sort of when you were bootstrapping, I guess, where did you decide and how did you decide where to actually invest your limited resources, whether that was actual money or time? And was there any sort of thing in place for that?
We made a plan, an investment plan that sort of tackled 3 pillars. The first pillar is the product. The second is obviously sales. And the third one is the scaling of both and the automation around it. Because if you just invest into like the product and just add features, it's not scalable in terms of, for example, support, help, and everything around it. So, and the other way around, if you just invest into sales and not in the product, you just shout it out, and then you have unhappy clients at the end. So this scaling was very important for us. And we made this plan carefully and wisely. We had our version 1, which was sort of outdating already in terms of technological developments, the web, the browser-based applications. We have seen this now. You don't need to install a lot of things anymore. So this, we said, we need to invest into that. We wanted the latest technology. So we actually threw away the whole version 1 code and we did it from scratch again.
Wow.
And this is maybe one thing as a learning, a takeaway. We have seen other competitors not doing this, and we have overtaken them by miles now, because they are still building onto that that pyramid that is standing on the top, and at one point it will tip. So if you just build and build and build up on that pyramid, and it will fall over. So we took our own pyramid and we threw it away, and we started with a bigger base, and now, even if we are building a pyramid again, it has a more solid base now. And this was something we wanted to invest in, and this took time and obviously a lot of resources. But now we are earning from this because the system is so much better, and we've learned from mistakes from the previous product and put it out there. Yeah, so this was sort of the investment idea behind it.
Yeah, no, that's a really cool way of explaining that. So thank you. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, I guess. Learn from your mistakes and rebuild in a way that you know is going to work and is going to be successful for you. So, I mean, that's a great piece of advice. And in terms of other sort of advice, I mean, I think you're a really great person to ask about this. So what other advice would you give to kind of other founders actually trying to grow their businesses kind of organically?
One thing that is also very important that others did wrong, maybe that we did pretty good or pretty right, is don't work too long on your MVP and improve it. Oh, it's not ready. We can't go to the market yet. No, the moment you have something that is working, that is clickable, you have to put it out, and you can improve along the way, because the pace out there has become so fast. If you wait too long with something, others will do it. And we actually had this situation with one of our modules. Before ChatGPT was launched, these large language models were already popping up, and we had a reply functionality for hotel reviews. We had it ready. We haven't launched it yet because it was like, no, we want to have it nicer and so on. And all of a sudden, there was this big boom in the market. And another company, super simple, super simple, launched this product that just did the same job, and it was everywhere, in all words, in all minds. People were like, oh, this is so fantastic, this is great. And we had it already, but we were sort of the second ones. And so this advice, if you've got something good, create it and put it out, and then iterate through, improve it. You
can always have second versions, can't you? It's just getting that initial. That must have that must have not been a fun time. But no, that's fantastic advice. I mean, I think that's very good. Is there anything else that you could think?
There's actually is one more, and this one is a very old one. So nowadays, almost everything is founded or was founded already. So there's only niche markets. You can't found another Facebook because social networks are around. You can't, I don't know, there's like a lot is there already. And now I think there will be a lot of these combinations, and add some spice, some AI spice to it, and you can create new products. So what I learned, also my personal biggest mistake, back in 2008, I wrote my thesis about how to compare reputation across hotels. And I wrote a really big thesis about it, and I handed it in and I forgot about it. And there were these global players now. They were only founded 4 or 5 years after that. So I actually had a good idea, but I didn't pursue it. So my advice is, if you walk through life, you you have to be very, if you want to be an entrepreneur, yeah, if you want to do some businesses, obviously, you have to be just very attentive and open, with open eyes, run around and just look at what are people's problems, what is out there. And if you come across something, you nowadays have the possibility to found everything, because the market is the world. Back then you had your local markets. It was hard to reach anybody out their own country. And now with the internet and the availability of mobile phones and communication, everything is possible. So
Yeah.
this is one additional advice. You don't have to go fancy or crazy. You just have to improve something, make it better, nicer, and you can do. There is still potential out there.
Yeah, nice. No, I like that a lot. And a bit of a different question just to see sort of where your head goes with that actually. So what for you, sort of what is one thing that founders think is sort of essential, but you have kind of learned it isn't really, and it is not something that you needed to focus on as much as you did?
There are moments as a founder where you need to let go on specific things. You can't do everything on your own.
Yeah.
And the first learning is, if you hand it to somebody else, you will never get it back in the way you wanted it, obviously. That's it. Everybody is an individual person, so everybody does its own touch and so on. So you need to learn to, you can't found a Google with 3 people for 20 years. Yeah, you will not come to this to the goal. So you need to learn to have other people on board that are following this, and you need to let go. This is one of the things that we should have maybe done a bit earlier, because I'm still programming parts of these things in the system that are still lying on my shoulders. It's fine, it's okay, but if you want to scale it, you have to decouple at some stage and build these structures, and you should not forget about this at the right time. And maybe if you want to grow fast, you should always think of another rule. It's better to own or have 20% of something worth X than having 100% worth nothing or not have any investor here. So the point, what I want to say is, if you want to go and have a cool product, it might be better to have some investors earlier on stage, because you can grow with them. Take the right ones, but you can grow faster and nicer than having this protection. No, this idea is so fantastic. I want to keep it to myself. I'm not selling anything. I will not take any investors on board. And then just have 100% of nothing, yeah, instead of 20% of a lot, worth a lot, yeah.
So I guess we'll go into sort of one final question just to wrap it up. I know that we've discussed a fair bit about sort of the lessons you've learned and your experience. So I guess one final thing. So what's kind of one final lesson that you wish you had learned a lot earlier in your startup journey?
One of the lessons is, when you grow and build the team, is that you should invest or think of the possibility to invest into rather having 10 very highly motivated, incredibly knowledgeable persons, rather than having 20, 30, let's say just some person doing the job. Yeah. I am convinced that that a core team, if this is chosen wisely, and obviously this requires some money, 3 people are able to do a lot more than 10 just having these normal work attitude, like 3 maybe even people that are having shares of the company. So maybe start with some virtual stock options, or some stock options for the employee stock options, something like this, earlier, and to bring in like 10 people, a couple of more people than just 2, because Toby and myself are doing a lot, and it's our own business. Obviously, we do it. But if you have like 5, 6 more people of this kind, I think you have more burning energy in the company. So this is maybe one of the last findings along teams and people. Yeah.
No, that's perfect. I think that's a great kind of point to finish on, and I think a lot of people will find that really helpful actually in terms of that. It's sort of quality over quantity sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
But sometimes you've got to kind of find that balance with it. So especially when starting a business like you guys. So, but yeah, I mean, it's been absolutely fantastic learning a little bit about Hotellistat and what you guys are doing and how you've been using sort of AI in your way when it's obviously data driven, and also to get some sort of knowledge from you in terms of how you know, founders could take some advice from your side of things, and how you've done it. So thank you. It's been really interesting having you on. I hope hope you've had a good time, Philip.
Thank you, Emily. Likewise, it was a pleasure. Speak soon.
Perfect. Yeah, best of luck with everything. We'll speak soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Vision to Venture. If you're listening, make sure to give us a 5-star review. And if you're watching, like and subscribe to listen to more inspiring stories from tech leaders.